Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Our guest, Bernard Parks, member of the Los Angeles City Council. And sir, we've been very focused on the mayor's race, the controller's race, but there are two initiatives on the ballot that are pretty important.
Yes, sir.
And I want to talk about them with you. And let's start with Proposition A. As we know, the state passed a statewide sales tax increase in November, half-cent increase for 4 years. What would Prop A do for the voters of the city of Los Angeles?
First of all, it raised the sales tax in perpetuity, basically
By half cent?
By half cent. It's a 50% vote, and also it's being labeled as an ability to maintain current services, and it lists a variety of things they could go for. The fact that it's a 50% vote makes it a general tax as opposed to a specific tax would be a 66% vote.
Right. Have you taken a position on Proposition A?
Yes, I'm opposed to Prop A because I think with $7.2 billion budget that the city already has, we've asked the public to chip in significantly with fees and increases. We've also raised their, basically their energy tax in the sense of their electrical bills by 10%. We've raised their trash fees 2 or 3 times in the last few years. Water rates are going to go up, and they're expecting another 30% on electrical over the next 3 years.
At the same time, we do know the city is facing deficits.
They're facing deficit, but I believe there's so many things that can be done. We basically can be looking at issues such as stop hiring, number one, not filling vacancies. We
don't have a hiring freeze now?
We have what we call managed hiring, which means that they will prolong the process, but generally they hire. We also are going to have to look at what 72% of the budget is in police and fire. Can you afford to continue and sustain that when you think about the pension obligations down the road? We should be looking at other issues of farming work out.
What about bona fide pension reform? Have we had pension reform to the extent that other governmental entities have?
We've had some moderate changes, both in the police fire, which was voted on by the public a couple of years ago, and we've changed ordinances for civilian pensions by raising the age, a variety of things. But the unfortunate thing about pension reform, you will not see the benefit of it for a number of years because currently the law is saying you cannot impact current pensions.
It's new hires.
Current employees. So if you're not hiring, these benefits are 20 to 30 years down the road.
Prop B is also on the ballot, and it's a little confusing. It appears to be somewhat of a pension reform measure, but not exactly. Is that fair?
Not pension reform. Basically, the city of LA merged the General Services Police. Those were the police officers that guarded buildings and libraries in the city hall, and they merged it into LAPD. That Prop B is giving those employees the ability to buy into the LAPD pension at a cost neutral to the city at their expense.
Truly cost neutral.
Cost neutral, yes.
So have you taken a position on Prop B?
Prop B, I support that because if they're going to be a part of the police department, I think they have a right to have access to that pension system. And very recently, the city voted and allowed the Harbor Department Police to do the same thing.
We're looking forward to May. There will be initiatives on the ballot, presumably dealing with marijuana. It's interesting because we know the California Supreme Court is looking at the question more generally. So do we need these initiatives if the California Supreme Court is going to rule?
Well, I think, in my judgment, even without the Supreme Court, you don't need them because the federal government preempts the sale of marijuana. The DEA has chose to put marijuana as a Schedule I, which says it has no medical benefits. The state law and the H&S code prohibits the sale of marijuana. And all 3 of these initiatives go beyond what we commonly call the medical marijuana law. And so when we look at all of these issues, I think even if any of them are approved, I don't believe legally they can be implemented.
Okay, his name is Bernard Parks. He's a member of the Los Angeles City Council. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching Time Warner Cable's local edition.